stuck indoors, so decided I'd start baking. And basically you can't just run to the store and buy all the added ingredients that you might need for a specific recipe. So I've always just kind of used everything that I can find in my fridge, in my kitchen. I am putting together some pancakes that I made. This is actually my second batch. I just made, and these are cooling off over here, but I'll show you some just beautiful pancakes. And basically what I've done is I went out and I had bought these 24 eggs actually from Costco, and I had bought 2 containers of these, and now they're expiring. So what I'm going to do is put together some pancakes that are super high in protein and really just healthy for you to eat as a snack throughout the day. As I said, I made that beautiful batch back there. So I've already got, let's see, 5, 10, about 12 eggs in here. And I'm actually going to add the remaining of what's in my, so I'm using 24 eggs. So let's just continue to crack these and put them in our nice mixing bowl here. Yeah, aside from not finding more toilet paper in the grocery stores, you also can't find flour. I know I read an article recently where, and this might be what sparked that, but read an article recently where other countries are now starting to hoard their wheat products, and so it could be that, I don't know if it initially started with our president saying we're only going to take care of the United States, so now they're only going to take care of their own countries. I don't really know where it started, but you know, we're all, commerce is, you know, these days import-export from other countries, and we export just as much as we import. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out if countries start hoarding their flour. I don't know what the numbers are as far as how much we actually import of that flour. So we'll see if things start to get a little bit more crazy in the grocery stores. That could be why I couldn't find any flour these last couple days. So, and I'm sure that as people are spending more time indoors, they're probably doing the same thing I'm doing. They're busy baking. Okay, so to the eggs, and it's a lot of eggs. Look at that, beautiful. I'm going to just add, and I'm not the kind of person that measures anything. In fact, my husband jokes about that. He's like, you just throw in stuff. Well, because that's kind of how I learned how to cook from my mom. She just kind of threw stuff in and, you know, whatever she had in the fridge. So I am just gonna pour a bunch of cinnamon in here, and I would say maybe roughly 2 tablespoons. Because I also do not use a lot of sweetener. I will generally sweeten my baked goods with ripe bananas, maybe a yam, sweet potato, whatever I have at home. That last batch, I just used my last 2 or 3 super ripe bananas. I do have this sweet potato that I just baked in the microwave, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I probably should have mashed this up before I threw all that in, but guess what? I'm not following a recipe here. So all I'm going to do with this is go ahead and peel it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, everything that's going on out there. I hope everybody is staying safe and doing well. One thing that we should not be experiencing here in our country is hunger. So I know a lot of folks, are laid off right now or just have simply lost their jobs because a lot of businesses are being affected. I'm not working at this point, but I am a contractor and trying to figure out if there's going to be a stimulus package money for contractors, 1099. So we'll see about that. But anyhow, okay, got my sweet potato in there, and I'm gonna mash it up a little bit with this. It's pretty soft, so, and like I said, I do a lot of things backwards. But we'll get that all mashed up. Actually, not with that. Let's go ahead and use a masher. This was a really interesting thing. This little masher, I think that's what it's called. My mom used it a lot as we were growing up because it's how she mashed up the pinto beans to make refried beans. And so it was kind of a daily staple for us. Refried beans. My mom handmade tortillas, sometimes 3 times a day. And so we ate a lot of tortillas, rice, refried beans, and yeah, she did use lard or any kind of leftover grease that she had. She would usually use it in, the tortillas. So mash that up really well in there. Yeah, I grew up pretty fortunate. I considered myself kind of fortunate, I guess, in that, we were super poor. My mother, came from Mexico, and she actually did not become a U.S. citizen until she was 72 years old. And she's 92 now. But we were field workers, worked out in the field, and she basically was a super hardcore worker, and kind of taught us that. So grew up working really hard, eating really well because we had access to a lot of the vegetables that we were out there working on. So, for example, if we were out there on the tomato machines, I don't know if any of you are familiar with working on the tomato machines. That was a hard job. And basically what would happen was, after the tomato machines would go through and, disc or whatever the tomatoes, and then they'd come up through the machine, come through a conveyor belt, and, we'd be busy sorting and dumping out the rotten ones. Occasionally you see a mouse or a rat run through, and you just, because of the conveyor belt constantly moving in front of you, it made you really dizzy, or at least it did me. So every now and then you turn around and throw up, on the side of the machine as it's moving. But at the end of the day, we got to take home, the machine would miss a lot of tomatoes. So we got to take home the tomatoes that were left out in the field. And so it was really cool because the farmers let us do all of that. So we had, growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of meat, but we had a lot of vegetables. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some hemp, ground hemp seeds. This is to give it kind of a nice, nutty flavor and texture, basically. See that? Love it. I'm also going to add here some almond meal. And I guess, I don't know, this would be considered maybe a nice big, I'm using an actual tablespoon from, not the measuring spoon, but I would imagine it's kind of equivalent. So I'm going to add couple of these, and this is the Just Almond Meal. Yeah, they're heaping tablespoons here. You know what I'm also adding, and I don't have this in a container over here because I'm kind of running out of containers to put all my stuff in. But this is ground bran. So again, I'm adding several tablespoons here of ground bran because I like to add plenty of fiber to my food. So I tend to use this in a lot of stuff, even when I'm making bread. I made some bread the other day. It came out gorgeous. I have a little bit of leftover here. See this? Really pretty. And of course, I'll have to do a video on that because I use the leftover whey from making yogurt, but beautiful bread. Okay, I've added some bran. I'm now going to add some flax. I also have a big bag of flax here. Need to buy, well, I'm not going to buy anything right now, but need a container for that. And when I say I'm not going to buy anything right now as far as items that I don't truly need is because everybody's kind of watching their dollars right now. So we're going to add, how many was that? I think that was 3. I'm going to add 4. Yeah, it's kind of some interesting times. Watch how you're spending. I know that we all want to be really careful on what we spend on right now. And don't go out and spend on frivolous crap. Okay, so I've also got this, it's called, let's see what my little thing, because I got it from the bulk food. It was a high protein pancake mix. And basically you can use any kind of flour. If you have rice flour, you can, this is I would imagine this has other items in it, but rice flour, whole wheat flour, whatever you want to add to this. And I'm going to add several tablespoons of this stuff because it's going to be what keeps my pancakes together. So, and that's because I would imagine this is probably at least nice, good stuff. It is, there's lots of eggs in there, so. Let's stir all that together. I'll taste it for sweetener here. As I mentioned, I haven't added any sugar to this other than my sweet yam that I put in there. So I don't have any more ripe bananas to add to this. So if it needs any additional sweetener, because I do want them to taste good, that way they can be eaten basically without adding any syrup or, you know, so you can just grab one and maybe put some, I don't know, you can put peanut butter in them. Oh, that reminds me. I have my flour peanut butter. That's what I was going to do. The last ones I made didn't have the peanut butter flavor, so I'm going to add peanut butter to this. It is powdered peanut butter. I use this for a lot of stuff. I use it for my smoothies. I use it for cookies. You know, you can, that was about 4 heaping tablespoons. You can alternate a lot of different products for when you're cooking or baking. I can never duplicate a recipe basically because I don't measure anything and I tend to just throw in whatever I want. okay. It's kind of watery. We're not making a bread here. We're basically going to throw them on the grill to look like a pancake. So you want to make sure it's pretty liquidy. Oh, one other thing, because I don't want to put any kind of butter or cooking oil as I'm grilling them, I am going to add a little bit of butter, and not a lot because I like these to be super healthy, so I don't tend to add a bunch of grease or butter or any of that. I do like to use olive oil sometimes, not olive oil, what is that? Coconut oil. But I'm kind of low on my coconut oil, so because coconut oil would actually give these a nice little flavor too. But I'm a little low on this, so I have about that much left, so I'm going to reserve that for something else. Since I do have, and I'm not using a whole lot of butter, I would say, I don't know, this is, I think I see a little piece of paper in there. This is probably just, what, a tablespoon of butter. And take this napkin here, put it on top so it doesn't splatter all over. Actually, it's going to touch the butter. Let's use a new one. I don't know if you're doing the same thing I'm doing these days, really watching my paper products. Reusing as much as I can, so I tend to put my napkin here and I will reuse it until it gets, you know, really nasty and then I'll dump it. So, you know, I think this crisis is going to change the way we do things these days, because we are a wasteful society and we tend to dump a lot of food that's really can still be used. I, for one, have always been, and I learned this again from my mom. She came from Mexico, you know, and they were really poor, and of course they eat everything. If it's rotting, you just kind of cut off the piece that's rotting and still use that that food. For example, if you have a sweet potato that's going bad, just cut off the piece that's not good, and your sweet potato, the rest of it is still good. We always used to we used to say that my mom would feed us the cheap rotten bread because she would go and buy it, or in some cases not even buy it. They would give it to her at the store as the bread that was going bad. And she would make this, our favorite. It was called capirutada. And capirutada is a Mexican bread pudding. Some of you Hispanics out there might remember when your mom made capirutada. Sometimes she would make it during Christmas, along with atole. And anyhow, it was a bread pudding, and she'd make it with this piloncillo. It's like a brown sugar and raisin, and she would layer the bread, put the piloncillo, the raisins, sometimes walnuts, and I don't remember if she baked it. I don't even know how to make it. Darn it, I need to ask her. So, but it was awesome, awesome bread pudding. Okay, this is ready. I don't think I've left anything out. So it looks super healthy and good. I am going to put this on the grill, and let me go ahead and get this burner started. You want to put your burner kind of on medium heat, and I'm going to move the camera over here. See if we can capture this. You want to see what my camera's sitting on top of? Ta-da! I am not personally a drinker, but my husband loves this Deschutes Fresh Haze IPA. So let's go ahead and put the camera here, and that way you can get a nice idea of... Sorry. There we go. Come on, little camera. Got it on this little camera stand. All right. You see my beautiful pancakes here? So I am cooking up a storm today. Yeah, these are nice. I just had one, and I made these small little pieces at the end. Really good. You can eat these with nothing on them. No syrup. These don't have the peanut butter in them, so they're going to taste a little different than the ones I'm currently making. Yummy. Okay. Actually, I need to get them off the stove here because the process that I follow is, as you're baking them, I like to put them over, you know, one of these burners, just so that they cool off. And let's check to see if I still have coffee. Yummy. Okay. Let's wait for our skillet. Put a little water on it, see if it sizzles. It does, so I think we're ready. Stir your mix a little bit. And, oh, I love the color of the sweet potatoes, or the sweet potato that I put in there. I would have added two if I had to. Yummy. Sorry. Hope I'm not being too rude by eating and talking. Alrighty, so there we go. Let's go ahead and let those cook. Let's see if we can fix that one a little bit. Oh well, it'll be fun. So yeah, this economy is going to be interesting once the recovery of the economy, because I'm not really sure what kind of recovery we're going to have. It's going to be a lot of businesses either probably going out of business and or some playing major catch-up when we get back. Luckily, a lot of restaurants are able to still make food, and you can order, and either they deliver or you pick up, but that's not the same. I'm sure they're not making, and people are also trying to spend less, so that's going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me move this camera back so you can actually see me. No, you still can't see me. Let's see. But I'm just hoping that everybody is okay, that everybody survives this. There's going to be a lot of people who are obviously not going to make it. My 92-year-old mom lives in an assisted living in California. I live here in Oregon, and I haven't been able to go see her. She called me one day and told me that she was being held hostage. She's 92. She doesn't watch a whole lot of TV. I'm going to go ahead and flip this, although that one just, let's see if it's, ooh, not quite ready. We'll make sure that we don't do the others like that. But she doesn't quite understand what's happening because she doesn't watch TV, and her daily routine was to go and play bingo, and I guess they're not allowing them to go into the cafeteria and play bingo anymore. It's really hard for our seniors, and kind of makes me really sad to think, because when I talk to my mom, she doesn't understand. And she says, well, if the government's holding us hostage, you know, I guess we have to do what the government says. And that's not my mom. That's not how she sounded even just recently, a couple weeks ago. But they've been required to stay in their rooms now for, I don't know, they're going on 3 weeks, I guess. Whereas here in Oregon, I know we just started basically early last week where we were required to stay at home. So, super difficult for some. So we'll see. We'll see. I know for me, honestly, it's not that hard staying at home. You can still go outside. You can still go for a walk. You can go for a hike and talk to your neighbors. In fact, you can start to have that relationship with your neighbors that you maybe didn't have before. And I need that. Definitely tastes the peanut butter in that. You know, now that I taste that, I'm going to add a little honey to it because I want that to be a little sweeter. And again, I'm not measuring anything. This is how I cook. Do some big squeezes in here. Just kind of sweeten things up a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not really sure what's going to happen. I know, you know, occasionally I'll go on Facebook and read some of the comments on there on certain events, and people saying they can't keep us indoors, they can't, you know, they can't make us, you know, this is America, we're the land of the free, and we can do as we please. And you know, I was kind of mean, and I commented back to one of those, you know, comments where they were just basically saying that they're not going to, you know, if the government gets used to doing what they're currently doing, or doing what they're, you know, the restrictions that they're imposing on people, then they'll just, excuse me, continue to do that, is what people are thinking, or some folks. I don't necessarily agree with that. I really think that once this is over, we're going to have our liberties and our freedoms back. I don't know, I could be wrong. If we don't, I'm pretty sure the people are going to assemble and there's going to be a revolution. But for now, folks, stay indoors, do whatever you need to do. Oh, when I said I commented on that, I did a mean comment back. I don't know, I took this out of a Bible movie, or it's probably a Bible phrase, in the Ten Commandments, I think, where it says, if you cannot live by the law, you're going to die by the law. So, yeah, that was mean, but yeah, I'm like that sometimes. So, do as they're telling you to do. it'll be fine. These first two came out okay, but I think our next ones will be better. I think we need to lower this a tad. Anyhow, so you get kind of the gist of what I'm doing here. I'm not going to keep you on this video forever. You're probably tired of listening to what I have to say. Also, what I like to do is, once it spreads out like that a little bit, if you want to thicken it up a tad, you can always put more and add a little bit more to this one. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care.